a lot to say about literally no progress. Is it the best book I've ever read? No, but like, did I have fun while reading it? Yes. It is my pride and joy. I am obsessed with it. Just like that, easy. And we shall spin again. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my December hobby reset. We are going to talk about everything I worked on in November and plan what hobbies I'll be doing in December. I feel like this will be a long one, so let's just dive on in. I want to start with needlepoint. I feel like for me, November was nonstop needlepoint. I was obsessed with it this past month. And it kind of seems like everyone else was too. Either my Instagram algorithm is catching up to me, or November was also a really big month for needlepoint for everyone else too. I saw so many videos of people I know and like just strangers, people I don't know, picking up needlepoint for the first time or after a very long time of not doing it also. So I felt very on theme, on trend, I guess, doing it needlepoint for most of the month. So I have 3 needlepoint projects that I've been working on. The first is my Granada stamp, and I made a video about this. I'll post it somewhere or in the description, so if you want to watch that, you can. It's pretty short, I think like 10 or 15 minutes, but this is my Granada stamp. I designed and painted this. I designed it on Stitch Fiddle. I painted the canvas. It is 18 mesh, and I'll put all of the threads that I'm using somewhere on the screen if you are curious. I haven't made too much progress since returning from Thanksgiving break. That is when I mainly worked on this canvas. I've only done a little bit in the palm tree on the like green leaves there. But yeah, really not too much progress on it. I don't think I have too much left. I would say I'm definitely 50% of the way through. So I feel confident that I will get this, I was gonna say off the needles, but that's like for knitting, cast it off as knitting. What do you say when you like are gonna finish a needlepoint project? Off the stretcher bars, but it's not on stretcher bars. I'm gonna say onto the finishing pile. So I feel confident I'll get this onto the finishing pile within the next week or so. I really, really want to attempt to finish a few needlepoint canvases, like self-finish needlepoint canvases this month and turn them into ornaments. I have this one and a Rummy Cube canvas I made years ago. So that is my first canvas I worked on, and probably my second most worked on canvas of the month. My least worked on canvas of the month, which I actually barely worked on, I think I just did a little bit in the tassels, is my Rooney and Stitch Chateau Marmont key canvas that I'm turning into a Bowery Hotel key. I bought this one up in Manchester, Vermont at the Pine Needle, a cute little needlepoint shop up there. But anyways, I haven't worked too much on this one. Again, if I didn't say, threads will be on the screen. I added a little bit of dark brown in the tassel, but I'm still searching for the perfect dark red. I found a dark red that I thought would work, but it's a little too close to the dark brown that like there wasn't enough of a distinction, at least for my liking. So I barely worked on this one this month, but hopefully I'll find a good dark red soon. Maybe when I'm in Vermont at Christmas, I will pop into the shops and like look again in person, back into this store, which was the Pine Needle, and then there's another one in Dorset, like 15 minutes away, that also they have a ton of threads. So hopefully I'll find a dark red then, but not too much to say about this canvas other than like it's adorable and I love it, and I really do want to finish it. I want to finish this into an ornament. So hopefully I'll finish it this month or next month. That would be fantastic. And then my last needlepoint project of the month that I've been actively working on is my pride and joy. I am obsessed with it. This is another canvas that I designed on Stitch Fiddle and painted myself, and that is my Statue of Liberty in Christmas lights. I am in love with this one. I am so beyond proud of it. I think it is, I don't know, I just look at it and I'm amazed that I made it. I think I've talked about this before. I finish things that I've made with my hands and I can't believe it. I think it's crazy that like we're able to make such cool things. But again, threads will be on the screen if you want to know what I'm using. I'm not going to go through all of them. I finished the Lady Liberty herself and all of the Christmas lights. And I used like sparkly thread, glittery thread for the Christmas lights. Hopefully you can see that. So they twinkle a little bit. But all I have left to do is the base and the background. I'm not stitching this row of Christmas lights. It felt just too bottom heavy to me, and I'm also on my stitch fiddle design, I've edited the base a little bit. I'm doing 5 white windows instead of 3, so I'll be kind of like modifying as I stitch. And I really don't know what color I'm gonna do for the background. At first I was thinking like a white or an ivory color. I don't know, I have to think about that a lot more. So if you have any ideas of what a nice like background color would be, I think I'm gonna do kind of like a curve, like a half moon type of shape around her. And then I will finish her flat with like a little pocket in the back so she can stand up nicely. And I have a vision to make a little series of New York monuments or New York landmarks, like the Brooklyn Bridge, the Botanical Gardens, the Flatiron Building, the Empire State Building, all of those. Maybe a subway car covered in Christmas lights like this to make a little New York City Christmas village. I feel like that would be just like adorable and so fun to have and very appropriate. I live in New York and I'm not from here, but I live here and I love it. So I would love a whole little series. Obviously will not be designing, painting, and stitching all of those anytime soon. I think that'll be like a 2 or 3 year long project, but it could be fun to have 1 or 2 a year to work on. But hopefully this will be on the finishing pile, right? That's what I decided, on the finishing pile at the end of the month. So looking back at the month, at the beginning of November, I set a few, I guess, hobby goals or like plans for the month, like we will do for December at the end of this video. And for needlepoint, my wishes were to finish my Bowery key, which I did not do. And my other wish was to make 2 or 3 ornaments, which I also did not do. Or to stitch 2 or 3 canvases that would become ornaments, which I also didn't do. I only did 1. This will be an ornament. But I am like really happy with where I pivoted to. I think when I set these like goals at the beginning of the month, they're not really goals. They're more kind of ideas to keep me on track and focused. Otherwise, if I didn't have like some goals or some ideas or like a wish list of things I wanted to do, I probably would have painted 400 canvases and like not stitched on any of them because I'm so indecisive sometimes. So this gives me a little bit of structure. So I didn't really totally follow my structure. I kind of did, but I am happy with where I went with needlepoint in November, and I'm looking forward to planning my needlepoint in December, which we'll do at the end of the video. I'm gonna go through all of the hobbies I did in November first. So kind of sticking with the stitchy theme, I'm going to move into knitting, which is probably my second most worked on hobby of the month behind needlepoint. I finished 1 project and I have 1 whip. I've finished my honey scarf, which I did make a video about. This is the honey scarf by Brianna Mason. It is this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cable knit triangle scarf. I think it's just absolutely stunning and it is gorgeous. The yarn I used is Cashmere Classic by Gepard Yarn in Wild Rabbit, which, as I said in my honey scarf video, is the perfect name to describe this color. But it's a gorgeous yarn. It's a super soft yarn. I would really recommend it. I really enjoyed working with it and I love wearing it even more. I'm wearing a turtleneck today, so I'm not gonna like totally put it on, but I think it's just so, so cute. I really, really like it. So I will link the video where I talk all about this in the description box below or somewhere on the screen if you want to know more about it. But I will say that I do think this is a good project for a beginner, like as a 3rd or 4th project. If you've done maybe like a Sophie scarf or like I-cord edging, you feel confident with knitting and purling stitches, like knit and purl stitches, I don't know why you couldn't do this. I really do think cables seem much more intimidating than they are. And this is probably only my, I don't know, 15th real knitting project. Like I haven't knit a ton of finished objects. I have like probably 10 whips right now in hibernation, but this is my 15th finished project, and I really wish I did cables sooner because they were not as scary as I thought they were, especially in this one. I felt like I learned so much and my cabling just got better and better as I went. So yeah, I would highly recommend this scarf to anyone, but also beginners. If you want to knit cables and you feel confident with your knit and purl stitches, I think you can do this. There's a bit of a learning curve at the beginning with learning how to read a chart and learning how to do the cables, but otherwise I think it's totally doable. And then my second knitting project of the month is my current whip, which are the Claudia gloves by Issy Billings. Is that how you say her name? Ursa knits, Ursa makes. I will link the pattern down below. I purchased it on Ravelry, and they are these cute little fingerless mittens. I am almost finished with the first one. I will put it on so I can show you what it looks like. But I am knitting mine in, I'll show you the other skein. Journey Sport by Julie Asselin in the color Dentelle. I bought this up in, adjust that. I bought this yarn up in Quebec City a few years ago, and I think it's this really pretty, soft, grayish purple color. I really like it. But I'm knitting these little fingerless gloves for my sister for Christmas as a Christmas gift. So they look like that on. I think very cute, very nice. I think this is a great gift. I cast these on right before Thanksgiving break, and I worked on them when I got back for a day and a half, or this for a day and a half when I got back. And I think it's turning out really, really well. I'm really pleased with how it's looking. Oh, it's all twisted there. Okay. But very, very simple, left and right, just like that, easy. I've made a few modifications so far. She calls for twisted rib. I just can't do twisted rib, so I just did a regular rib. And I think I lengthened this part, the bottom ribbing, by, I want to say, an inch, maybe a quarter of an inch. I think it's half an inch, a quarter of an inch longer than she suggests. And I did 2 more increases than she suggested in the pattern. But I think my sister will really like these. They are very warm and soft, but they're not so soft that they feel delicate. This yarn does feel like it could handle a bit of a beating. So I think that's great for these mini glove things. I'm knitting these using the magic loop, and I have never been a magic loop person. I've always preferred double pointed needles to magic loop, but I do not have DPNs in the correct needle size, the needle size I needed for this project. And I have been loving magic loop for this. This is the first time that I think magic loop has actually clicked for me in my mind, and I've understood it. So I'm feeling very pleased with that. And yeah, just overall very happy with how this is going. I think they fit well. My sister's hands are about the same size as mine, so I'm hoping this doesn't grow too much during blocking. But I think it could stand to grow maybe a quarter of an inch, and that would be okay. But yeah, very happy with how these are going. I just have the little thumb hole left on this one and to weave in at the end, and then I will start the second one. So looking forward to having these finished, and I will definitely remember to take a video of them before I gift them because I will not have them in my December hobby wrap up January reset video. So very pleased with this, the little Claudia gloves, very fast project. I think they'd be a great holiday gift. So that is my one and only knitting whip. And looking back at my knitting wish list or wishes for the month of November, I think I met them. The first was to finish my honey scarf, which I did. And the second was to start my 2 gift knits, which I did. One of my gift knits is no longer. I was going to knit Jake a pair of socks, but he does not want socks anymore, and I really don't want to knit socks. Nothing about socks has ever appealed to me. No, that's not true. Sometimes I think I would really like knitting socks, and other times I'm like, why would I want to do that? That seems so boring. So I think I met my goals. I finished my honey scarf, and I started my only gift knit for the year since I'm no longer doing socks. So my knitting wish list was, I think, very much so met. So my next stitchy hobby is quilting. I am going to start with my biggest project. I've got 2 quilty projects that I'm working on right now. The first is my home street quilt, which I am not going to open, but I think as you can see, it is sandwiched. So I have sandwiched my home street quilt. That I always forget, sandwiching a quilt takes like so much more effort and work than I think it's going to. In my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm just laying 3 pieces of fabric basically and safety pinning them together. But like to not get any wrinkles and to keep it as smooth as possible, it's a big PITA. But it is sandwiched and I'm very pleased with that. I have my big quilting hoop hanging on the wall over there, so I need to take that down and put it on the hoop and start hand quilting. I really want to get this done as a Christmas gift for my parents. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that, but if I could at least get through 50% of the hand quilting in December, that would be fantastic. So we shall see where this ends up at the end of the month, but just getting it, I think, sandwiched was a big deal for me because I was really putting that off. I was like, all month I had the top, the batting, and the backing fabric just sitting on a chair in my room, and I would look at it and I was like, oh, I have to sandwich that. Like, I really should do that this weekend. I should do that tonight. I have time. And I didn't, and then I finally did, and I'm glad I did that. I was really procrastinating. So that is the only update on my home street quilt. Hopefully a bigger update will be coming in the near future. And then my only other quilting related project is my little boutique scissor case, which I have made no progress on. I wanted to finish stitching the design just like with the running stitch. So I've been stitching the design on to the fabric. I am so close. I think this is going to be a project for the afternoon. I just have to finish this top. Like, it's a little flower. I don't know if you can tell. I just have to finish like the petals, the stem, and the leaf. So I am so close to being done with this part of it. I still have to stuff and then design, stitch, and stuff the other half and attach them. But I think I just need to like sit down and just get myself to finish stitching this. I don't know why I didn't work on it this month. I think I completely forgot about it, honestly, for most of the month. I was really focused on knitting and needlepoint all month. So I just didn't do this, but I love it. And I really want it done for my little scissors. I think it would be so cute. So yeah, I'm actually gonna leave this out where I can see it. I'm gonna put it on my nightstand. So I see it after this and I just sit down and finish it because it's 30 minutes, an hour more worth of work. And then it'll be off the hoop and I can wash out the blue marker and stuff it. So yeah, a lot to say about literally no progress, but that is my little boutique scissor case. And yeah, I think that's everything for stitchy hobbies, like little needlecraft hobbies, which are definitely my main hobbies. My main focus is my little needlecraft hobbies. So I'm not going to go too in depth on the items in the next section because these are, I wouldn't say secondary hobbies, but I think the main focus of like this channel for me is my needlecraft. But I do love to read and bake and watch movies. Those are 3 like other hobbies that are in my life a lot. So I'll kind of like rapid fire, or as rapid fire as possible, go through this section. So as for books, the first book I finished was This One Life by Amanda Prowse. I'm not totally sure how to say her last name. And the book follows Madeline, who's the main character. She is an interior designer, a career woman, city woman. She lives in London and she's about to move to LA for a new job opportunity. And something happens in her life where she ends up having to come face to face with a decision she made years ago, and then has to make the choice between not necessarily between her career, and she just has to grapple with this decision that she made and kind of reassess her life and what she wants, what would make her happy, what would be right, would feel right to her, and to her decision in her life. So overall, I like enjoyed the book. I think it was like a pleasant reading experience. It was very easy. It was popcorny, but the epilogue ruined it. Okay, ruined is a strong word. The epilogue, I was not pleased with the epilogue. The epilogue was not the ending I wanted. I liked how it ended pre-epilogue. I felt like Madeline, the main character, was slightly dislikable, for me at least. She made some decisions and choices that felt very not thought out. she had like pretty black and white thinking, which I didn't really like. And she didn't have any qualities that I like admired or wanted to, like, made me want to cheer for her. I just didn't want to root for her. She did have some character growth, which I felt like was really shown at the end of the book, which made me feel, which I think led to me feeling really satisfied with how it ended pre-epilogue. I think I was originally pre-epilogue going to give it a 3.5, and I think the epilogue bumped it down to a 3-star read for me, which is still good. Like, I still like liked it enough, but did not, I don't know, it wasn't like, I feel neutral about it now. I am going to spoil a little bit right now because I want to talk about another book that I would recommend, maybe not instead, but if there's a certain theme in this book that I want to talk about that is a spoiler. So if you are interested in this book, skip ahead to here so you don't hear the spoiler. Okay, hopefully people who don't want to hear spoiler have skipped ahead. I wish this book explored the theme of motherhood so much more than it did, in like a deeper way. It felt pretty repetitive at times with the motherhood stuff. I just think like motherhood is such a complex and deep topic. And I think like for women, becoming a mother, thinking about being a mom, I think there's like a lot of emotion that surrounds that. And I feel like we didn't really see that from Madeline. She found out she was pregnant. She decided, and basically immediately she didn't want the kid. She wanted to put the baby up for adoption. And then her mom adopted the baby, and Madeline has kind of been like in and out, holidays and birthdays, and like not a ton of social interaction. And I think that has to be so hard. I think even if you don't want to raise the child yourself, to still have interaction with the kid, for the kid to know that you are her mom, like there has to be some really like deep, complicated emotions about that. And we saw it a little bit when Madeline was talking to her therapist, but I think that could have been explored in a really like interesting and deep way, because I think it is a really deep topic. There's a lot, I don't know, a lot of like thought that goes into that and these decisions that she made, and I'm sure the decision that she made affects her deeply. For her parents to adopt her daughter and for her to be kind of like an in and out mom in a way has to be really difficult. So I wanted to recommend another book if I think motherhood or complicated feelings around motherhood interests you, and that is Woman on the Verge by Kim Hooper. That book, again, I did not love the ending. The last like 20% bumped it down for me, but that book really made me think about motherhood and maybe my own possibility of being a mom in the future, my own relationship with my mom in different ways, like ways I hadn't thought about motherhood before. It's all about like maternal ambivalence and yeah, just ambivalence about being a mother, not necessarily feeling like it is your calling, but you just become a mom because that's what you do. So yeah, that's just a little small tangent, but if you want to read a book about motherhood that explores like complicated or like deep emotions and thoughts around it, I think Woman on the Verge is a great option. I just felt frustrated by the lack of deep thoughts, really deep conversations around motherhood in this one life. Tangent over, I am giving this one life 3 stars. It could have been a 3.5, but I think the epilogue and the lack of depth around that one theme I just discussed knocks it down to 3 stars for me. So that is this one life. The second book that I finished this month is The Unhoneymooners by, I have to look that up too, I don't know the author's name. Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Oh yeah, Christina Lauren. They're like a friend duo writing author team. So I started this book on my flight to Florida, and I finished it while there. It was perfect for the mood, perfect for my setting. It was also available on Kindle Unlimited if you have Kindle Unlimited. It was perfect for the warm weather, being by the ocean. It was like just a great light casual vacation read, and I really haven't read a book like that before. I think it kind of falls into like the contemporary romance genre. Is it the best book I've ever read? No. But like, did I have fun while reading it? Yes. I liked the 2 main characters, Olive and Ethan. I thought they were, for what the book was, like pretty well developed. I think I understood their personal backstories and like their backstories, their like joint backstory, which I feel like was really nice. I felt like with like comparing it to This One Life, I felt like I totally didn't understand different characters' backstories as much, whereas in the Unhoneymooners, I think I had like a pretty good understanding of individual backstories and like joint backstories, which I always enjoy. And I also really liked their time in Hawaii. I felt like that was fun. I really liked the ending. I loved most of it. It was just fun. It was perfect for the setting and where I was. So I give that a solid 3.5. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue reading in this contemporary romance category. I think The Unhoneymooners is a pretty highly ranked book in that genre, and I enjoyed it. It was light, so I think I'll reserve those types of books for beach vacations or like when I'm just like chilling by the pool in the summer, and not so much for like an everyday read at home. But yeah, 3.5, I thought it was pretty good. And then also while in Florida, I started The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, also available on Kindle Unlimited, and I am about 20% of the way through. I am loving it so far. It has a lot of elements I like. It is kind of historical fiction-ish. It jumps through different timelines. There's a little bit of magic in it, which I'm not like a huge magic fantasy person, but it's got like a little bit so far, which is like the right amount for me. And I think it's just been a really fun and enjoyable read. The premise is super interesting. Like, she lives forever, but nobody remembers her. So it's been interesting to think, like, how would I like react in that situation or handle that? I don't know, would I be able to handle that? How would I feel about it? I don't know. I think that has to be really, really hard. It's making me think a lot about my life in different ways that I didn't really expect it to. But I know for a fact I will be 100% finishing this in December. I am really, really loving it. So not too much to say on that front yet. But if you've read it, I would love to know. It seems like it's a really highly suggested book or highly recommended book. And then I have two other books I am currently reading. One I'm listening to, and that is The Blue Castle by L.M. Montgomery. That is my audiobook. I've been listening to that while I've been knitting or needlepointing, or when I go for like a walk in the morning. I am about halfway through. It's not a long audiobook. I think it's like 7 hours long. I want to say I'm at like 3.5 or 4 hours. It's just a fun, light read as well, similar to the first two books that I read this month. I don't have too much to say on it right now. It's just been like really pleasant. I really like Valency, the main character. She's finding her voice, which I think is fantastic. So that one, and then the other book I am currently reading, which I didn't read too much in November, maybe I read like 3 days, is The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. That is a bit of a denser read, isn't the right thing, but I think I've said like my brain has to kind of switch into that like writing style. So it takes some time for me to like get back into it. I am going to just read that at the pace I'm reading it. I think I'm about 40% of the way through that one. And yeah, I do like it as well. But it's just been a bit of a slower read for me. So hopefully at the end of the month I will have, or at the beginning of January, I will have an update on The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and The Blue Castle for you. And then as for movies, I only watched 2 movies this month. I watched Primal Fear, which was fantastic. I did not see the twist coming, and it definitely, like, I thought for a lot after that. I don't know, it was really interesting. So if you've seen it, like, what do you think about the twist? Who do you think, which is he, is all I'm gonna say. Which is the real, or is he both? I don't know. Hopefully that doesn't spoil it for anyone, but I loved that. I thought it was great. I think I gave it a 4-star. And the only other movie I watched this month was Sentimental Value by Joachim Trier. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I liked it. I didn't love it. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. I do think I was comparing it a lot to his other films, especially the Oslo trilogy. I loved Oslo, August 31st. That movie broke me. And then I think Worst Person in the World, I also really enjoyed. I gave that 4 stars. And then what's the third in that trilogy? I can't remember, but I remember like really liking that. So I think this one, just in comparison to those 3, was like a little bit of a letdown for me. I mean, I thought the acting in it was great, but the story just wasn't as strong for me, or maybe just like I couldn't relate to it as much as I could to some of the other ones. As for baking, I did a decent amount of baking in November. I did not bake a pie. I know that is something I wanted to do and I did not, but I did bake sourdough dinner rolls. I baked some cookies and I think 2 or 3 more loaves of bread. I don't have any pictures of anything I baked, which is sad, but everything was yummy and delicious. I think that's everything I did this month. So knitting and needlepoint were my 2 like major hobbies of the month. I think reading was probably a close second, and then quilting, baking, and movie watching were like my bottom 3 if I like had to rank them. So yeah, I'm very excited to plan for December right now. But first, I would love to know what you worked on in November. I love hearing about other people's hobbies and things that they're working on. And if you have any projects or types of hobbies that you gravitated to more in November, I would love to know as well. And yeah, let's plan for December. So for December, I have kind of a little silly idea. I have seen people use these like magic spinny randomizer wheels before, and I thought it could be fun to decide what hobbies I might do in December, in the month of December. Not all of them, but I think I want to do my stitchy, crafty hobbies and one for books, because I know the only thing I know for a fact is movies. There are 2 movies I really want to see this month. The 2 movies I really want to see are Hamnet and Marty Supreme, and I think we have plans to see Marty Supreme on Christmas Day. So that's for movies, but I'm going to use this little fun spinny magic wheel to decide my crafty hobbies and my books. So I'm going to pull that up on my laptop and we will do that together. So I have input all of my crafty hobbies on the wheel. They're all here. And I think what I'm going to do is we'll spin the wheel maybe 2 to 4 times depending on what hobbies I get. And those will be the new hobbies that I work on this month. So to review, the hobbies that I would like to continue to work on this month are my 3 needlepoint canvases that I have. So my Granada stamp, my Bowery key, and my Statue of Liberty. I want to finish and work on, which I know for a fact I will, my little Claudia fingerless gloves. And I want to get 50% of the way through hand quilting my home street quilt. And then I would also like to finish the top, like stuffing and stitching the top portion of my Booties scissor case. So those are the current like in progress hobbies that I have. And then as for books, I want to finish reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I want to finish The Blue Castle by L.M. Montgomery. So those are like the in progress hobbies. Once I finish something, so like once I finish these gloves, I'm gonna wanna cast on something new. So I've put a few knitting projects in here. I've put a few like quilting things. Will I quilt? I don't know. If I get a quilty thing, I'm not sure if I will do it. I put also, I think, some needlepoint things, some little sewing things, and I loved making my basket so much last time I was in Vermont that I did add another basket to this wheel because it was just like such a fun project, and really didn't take too much time. So I think if I add another basket, that takes so I wanted to add a more advanced basket, and I want to buy the kit. So if I get it, that's like a reason to buy the kit. Okay, so I put them all in here. So I think I'm going to spin the wheel. Okay, the shopping basket, the weaving basket. Okay, I'm so excited. I really, really want to do this. I think it will be so much fun. I loved weaving my basket, my little funky melon basket, when I was up in Vermont in October, and I'll be there for about a week in late December. So I think it would just be like fantastic to do, a fun hobby. I love doing it by the fire. So I am so excited for that. So I have to order that today for sure. I think the shipping said it would only take like 5 to 7 days. So it'll definitely be here before I go up to Vermont. So yay. Okay, very pleased with that one. What a good first one to get. Okay, we will spin again. Oh my God, I thought it almost landed on this sweater. Okay, this Japan stamp. So I'm happy with that. That is something I wanted to do in November. If you didn't see any of my previous videos, I've designed 2 travel stamp, needlepoint stamp ornaments. So I have this Granada one that I made, and then I made a similar one, like the same size, but with like Japan vibes, like Mount Fuji and a Torii Gate and cherry blossoms with the number 23, because I want to turn these into ornaments, and the little number is kind of like the postage, but it's also the year we went. So we went to Granada in 2017 and Japan in 2023. So that is my second one, which I think will be really fun. Okay, so hide choice and then spin again. Okay, my Tyra sweater. So the Tyra sweater is a pattern I saw on Ravelry not too long ago, and I think it's so beautiful. It is a cable knit sweater, so that would be my first cabled sweater, and I'm very excited about this one. I do have, as I said, the sweater itch, so I think that will be perfect to cast on once I finish these gloves. I don't know if I have the yarn for it right now, but oh, I might actually. I'm gonna look and see if I have yarn that I want to use in enough, but I'm very excited about this one. So I'll put a little picture on the screen so you can see, and I will link the pattern down below if you're interested. But it's just a very beautiful like cable knit sweater. So, okay, I'm super, super pleased with that one. So my 3 new hobbies for the month are the basket, the French shopping basket, the Japan needlepoint stamp, and the Tyra sweater. Again, those are just like wish list items and to give me some structure. If I don't get to them or do them and instead I pivot to something else, that is totally okay. I'm not like beholden to those hot projects. Now we will do my little book options for December. Again, I have 2 books I want to finish this month that I'm already in progress. One is The Blue Castle, which I will finish within the next few days. I think I only have like 2 or 3 hours left of listening. And then The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I'm about 20 or 25% of the way through. And I only started it like 6 or 7 days ago. So I think I'll finish that pretty quickly. So I'm gonna pick a few more books. I think either 3 or 4, I'm not sure. We're gonna see how the spinning goes, but I know like around Christmas, like the few days before Christmas and few days after, I'm in a big reading mood. I always have been. I don't know why. I just love sitting on the couch with my dog by the fire reading. Like, who doesn't? So, okay, let's just pick some books. I've made my wheel here. These are the books I've picked. The Secret History, Wild Dark Shore, The Post Office Girl, Howard's End, Shine On, Bright and Dangerous Objects, The Land in Winter, Winter Solstice, The Passion According to G.H., Fresh Water for Flowers, and The Lonely Skier. These are all books, actually no, there are 3 books on here I don't own. I do not own Wild Dark Shore. I do not own Winter Solstice, but I think it is on Kindle Unlimited. And I do not own Fresh Water for Flowers. But I think I own all of the others. I'm not sure if they're on the shelf. Oh, I think that one, okay. Whatever, it doesn't matter if it's on the shelf behind me. But I think I own all of the rest, so. Oh no, Shine On, Bright and Dangerous Objects. I own a different Lori Colwyn, I don't know how you say her last name, book. But I don't own that one. So let's spin and see what we get. Okay, Shine On, Bright and Dangerous Objects. I'm very excited for this one. I read another one of her books over the summer when we were in Sweden, and it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to this one. I'm not sure if it's like wintry or not. I think the cover has like an ocean and a lighthouse, and it looks a little like stormy. So it's kind of like wintry mood, I guess. So good, I feel very excited about that. And hide that. Okay, spin again. Okay, Winter Solstice by Rosamund Pilcher. I read The Shell Seekers 2 summers ago, or not this past summer, but the summer before, and it was so beautiful. It just, I don't know how to describe it. Something about it just really made me feel warm and like wrapped in a hug, and it was moving, and I think it yeah, I think it was thought-provoking in like a really gentle way, if that makes sense. It wasn't like forcing you to think about things, but it kind of had this like gentle hum in the background in my mind, like constantly. And it's just a gorgeous book. So I'm really excited to read Winter Solstice. I think this one does take place around Christmas time, so maybe I'll pick this one up first around Christmas. Although I think there's a tragedy. I think like something bad happens to, it's either a family or a group of friends in Scotland around Christmas. Someone might die. I think it's like about grief and like moving through grief and love and family. I think like a lot of her books kind of have those themes. I think the Shell Seekers had some of those themes as well. So I'm excited to read this one. I think I have a lot of her books on my TBR, so very, very excited to read this. And again, I think this one is on Kindle Unlimited. I think I might be wrong, but if it's not, I will buy it on my Kindle because I'm sure it's going to be an absolutely gorgeous book. Let's spin again. Okay, The Post Office Girl. This one I don't know too much about. I bought it randomly. I saw it at the bookstore. The Post Office Girl follows a woman named Christine who manages a small post office in Austria post World War I, and she also is taking care of her sickly mother. And one day, Christine receives a telegram that will change, or I think is suggested to change, Christine and her mother's lives forever. So that's basically what I know about it. I also know that Wes Anderson based The Great Budapest Hotel on a few books, and one of them was The Post Office Girl. I didn't know that until after I saw this book at the bookstore and I bought it. I don't see it on my shelf right now. I think it might be in my closet, so I have to go hunting for it. It is by an Austrian author called Stefan Zweig, and it seems to be a somewhat popular book or well liked amongst those who have read it. So I'm very excited to read it. I don't know if I've ever read a book by an Austrian author, or if I had, it's been a long time. So I'm excited to read that. And I do really like books set in the early 1900s. So I'm looking forward to that. And we shall spin again. Okay, The Lonely Skier. Yay! Okay, so that is my fourth and final book. I think those four are good. I also do not have The Lonely Skier, but I will go to the bookstore and buy it. This is a book that I do want. So The Lonely Skier, written by Hammond Inez. It was published in 1947, and it follows a skier who joins a group of people in the Italian Dolomites looking for hidden gold. And I think it's a thriller. I think it becomes a bit of like a crime, murder mystery type of thing. I'm not sure if it's murder, but I think it's like a thriller, like there's like some sort of crime and mystery involved, and it seems like really good to read in Vermont. We live near a ski mountain up there, so it'll be snowy and we'll be skiing, and it feels very on a theme. So I think that is a great fourth book to finish with for my little mystery wheel here. So the four books that I will be adding on to my TBR for the month are Shine On Bright and Dangerous Objects, Winter Solstice, The Post Office Girl, and The Lonely Skier. That was so much fun. I really liked the mystery of the mystery wheel, not knowing what I was going to get. So thank you so much for joining me today to both discuss what I made in November and to plan for December. I would love to hear again what you worked on in November and what you're planning to work on in December. And that is everything. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.